Welcome to this new tutorial series I'm doing on how to make a game engine in LWJGL library. So, you can do some of the stuff I'm going to be doing this in other languages also, but I'm going to be using Java and I'm also going to be using Eclipse. And in this tutorial, I'm not going to be showing how to install Eclipse, so you're going to have to install it yourself. Neither am I going to show you how to install Java, but you need to know how to do Java anyway. So if you don't know how to program in Java, then you can't do this series pretty much. So I'm going to be using LWJGL Library 2. Just because it's a little bit easier to use than LWJGL Library 3, but if you've already done OpenGL programming in C++ or other languages that use a similar interface for OpenGL, then you can use LWJGL Library 3 and you'll have no problem doing the same sort of thing, because it's mostly the same. You just have to do a little bit more stuff to start getting set up. So first thing you're going to want to do is, if you don't already have LWJGL library, you're going to want to download it. So you're going to want to go to this site here and then click the downloads like I just did, and then you're going to want to click that and go to here. And I've already downloaded the main LWJGL library folders, but you're also going to want to download the Java doc zip file. So after you have these downloaded, you're going to want to go onto your desktop and create a new folder to store it. It doesn't really matter what you call it, but you just don't call it nonsense, because it'll be harder to find later. Open this. So I guess it never downloaded. Or deleted or something. So download that for like the 5th time. So I'll put in the Java doc first. So you just need to open the Java doc folder and drag that into here. We're just going to be putting everything in the same folder. You could just put it on your desktop, but then eventually, if you were doing that sort of thing, you'd end up with a desktop like I have right now, just full of junk. So then, after that's done downloading, you're going to want to go into normal, after you've done it, copying it. You're going to want to go into the normal folder, and then I'm not going to copy everything from here, but you're just going to want to go into the natives and using Windows, so I'm going to go into the Windows natives, and actually I'll just copy the whole Windows. And put that in the same folder there. So then you're also going to need the main LWJGL library jars to do everything. And it's just going to be the LWJGL library.util and LWJGL library, or LWJGL util.jar and LWJGL library.jar. So copy both of those, and we're going to put both of them in this folder. So then next you're going to want to open up Eclipse, and I already have a workspace here that I'm using. And then you're going to want to create a new Java project. You can call this anything. I'm just going to call it tutorial. And the next we're going to set up the things that we copied. So you're going to go under Java build path and make sure you're under the libraries tab and click add external jars, and then go into your LWJGL library folder and select both these jars. And there may be another additional jar that I'm going to be using later to do some rendering stuff that helps with textures with Qmax textures, but we're not going to be using slickutil like a lot of people do because it's not actually that hard to make it yourself. So then you're going to want to go up, click the down button under the LWJGL library jar and click on native library location, then click edit, then click external folder, and go under LWJGL library, then go into to the native folder, and you can select that, and then also the Java doc thing is still not done copying for me, but, so I'll actually set it up myself in a minute. But what you'll do normally is you'll click on this, and then you'll click browse, and you'll click your folder, and then you'll click Java doc. And don't go into these subfolders, just press OK there, and then you'll click the validate, and then click OK, and then apply for everything. And the LWJGL library should be completely set up. So I'm gonna have two master packages, and one of them is gonna be the engine package where we put like the normal game engine, and then gonna do the rendering package. We're gonna be doing the rendering package where we put the rendering engine. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a class to deal with the window, and we could just do all this in the main class, but we're going to have a lot of other stuff in the main class, so I'm not going to be doing that. And LWJGL library has a built-in display class thing, but you have to do a bunch of additional stuff, and it just looks kind of bad to have it in your main class. So that's just what we're going to be doing. So just create a new class called window, and we're only going to have one window, obviously, so this is going to have all static variables and so we're going to do some stuff that I'm not going to use quite yet, but just so I don't have to come in here and change a bunch of stuff later, I'm going to just have a couple things so that we don't, just for like efficiency reasons, so we don't have to, because we're going to be using in the future half width and half height. And then we're also going to want to do a private one that stores what FPS we're going to be telling LWJGL library to be running at. So then I'm going to be having the convention I'm going to be using for initializers and like sort of well, whatever it's called whenever you at the end of the program when you do it. I'm just going to be calling those methods create and destroy for absolutely everything. So we're going to want to take in the width, height, and desired FPS in LWJGL library, or actually OpenGL really is going to be, or I guess it's really LWJGL library is going to be making the program run at this FPS, but it is going to make it run at maximum that FPS. It can't make it run faster than like it would normally be able to run without calling that function. So first thing I'm going to do is just set these variables here that I declared, static variables. And yeah, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a try and catch loop, because there's some stuff that can run into errors, and the LWJGL library requires you. It's either, I'm pretty sure it just lets us have you a try catch loop. You might be able to do a throws, but then you have to have a try catch loop in the main, and that doesn't look very good. So we're going to be doing the try catch loop. And then LWJGL, the game library has its own type of exception that it throws that uses for almost everything, I think, if it's not everything. So if it runs into the error, we're just gonna print it out, I guess, instead of doing nothing. So we can actually fix the program if it runs into that. And also, since the Java doc is done copying, I'm going to set my Java doc to the Java doc thing I downloaded. Just make sure it works. Okay, so let's see if it works in there. So the first thing we're gonna want to do is declare the OpenGL version, pretty much, and a couple other things that deal with running on multiple operating systems and stuff like that. So this just declares like the context of what your program is going to be running in. And like which game library has its own class with it. And so later we're going to be switching to OpenGL 4 to use compute shaders, because a lot of things can be done a lot faster on the GPU than they can on the CPU. And then well, I'll get into that later when I actually make a tutorial for it, but for now we're going to be using the minimum one we can do for the two methods that are going to be coming immediately after this, which is OpenGL 3.2. So we're going to do with forward compatible is true, because everything's default false, I'm pretty sure. And the reason we can't do lower OpenGL versions right now is because you can't do a .with profile or with anything lower than OpenGL 3.2. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to set up everything before we create the display, and we're not going to be able to see the effect of this until later, but we're going to do it right now anyway. So we're going to set up vsync as true, and that just makes it look like a little bit less laggy if it's kind of running at slow FPS on the vertical axis. It just has some interpolation between the frames. And then we're going to set the display mode, and that just takes in the width and height, so it actually makes that. And if you don't do this, it just makes it the size of your screen, and it also is a little bit weird. You don't really want to do that unless you're just doing a full screen program, because it goes under the bottom thing if you're using Windows. So the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to set the title. This just sets the title to a window, pretty simple. Let's do it. Let's call it Game Engine, I guess. you can call it anything, obviously. And the next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to create the display. And this should take in nothing, but we're going to take in something because we don't want to have to edit this too much later. We're going to add some stuff to keep track of what differences between the frames and a couple tutorials probably, but not right now. So then we're going to take in a pixel format instead of just nothing. And the pixel format, unless it just takes in, you just want it to take in nothing, then it takes in the bits for different things. So the bits it does is we should have Java doc here, yeah. So it takes in the number of bits that alpha buffer is. We're just going to leave that for 0 right now. They're all default 0 anyway, so leaving them 0 isn't really changing anything. The depth buffer is actually default 8 though, so we're going to leave that at default. So we can actually do depth buffering later. I'm not going to worry about that thing. And then we're going to change the samples to 4 so that the lines aren't so hard, which is just anti-aliasing, and you're not going to see that effect until later, but we're just doing that right now anyway. So next thing we're going to want to do is tell OpenGL where we're going to be drawing on the screen. And you're most likely going to want to just do this, but if you have like a full screen program and you don't want to have to deal with rescaling everything to screen size, then you could just set the view part should be like the center, and that's the reason OpenGL has this thing, is pretty much for that. It's not very useful for what I'm doing specifically with this tutorial series, but then we have that. So then we're gonna want to do. Actually, we can just test this first to make sure there's no errors. We're gonna want to create a new class, which will just be the main class where we tell everything to run, and then we'll just go to main method, and we'll do window dot so you want to have it static, obviously. I already said that's going to have anything static. No, oh. So you might want to change this according to your screen size, but I'm just doing something that's slightly smaller than my screen. Quite a lot smaller actually, but and 60 FPS. So that's what you should see, just a thing that pop-ups and then disappears. So next we're gonna make it so it doesn't pop up and disappear. Something actually happens. And we forgot to take this, and you want it when you do the set display mode. You also want to take in the context attributes. I think. No, not that. I meant to. So when you create, you want to take in the context attributes. So then you're also going to want an update method for this that tells it's just going to tell OpenGL to update your actual computer display to have whatever it drawed onto the buffers, and it doesn't really matter how exactly that works because we don't have to implement that. All we have to do is call this function that says update. And then also what we want to do with our actual FPS thing we did before is sync the display to do our FPS that we currently have. If you're not like doing that sort of thing, we're going to have like options to change the FPS in your game, then you can just have like a private stack final thing for FPS if it's always going to want to be 60. But I'm just having it so it can actually be changed if you want to change it. Like the user. So later in the game, we're going to have stuff so that we can quit the game by more things than just pressing the X button on the window. So we're just going to have an is closed requested thing on here, and all we're going to be doing right now is return display is closed requested, and it's just returns a boolean to pretty much say if the X button has been clicked. And we're also going to let a destroy thing now that we're actually keeping the window open, otherwise the window is just going to stay open forever until we like force quit it. And then also, because we're going to have multiple threads probably later, because I'll be using this as part of the engine in my multiplayer series also, we're going to want to do system.exit, and that'll close all the threads also, so we don't just have a frozen thread just running in the background forever, and that also like stops the program from completely closing. So we're going to have the game loop. Just not that, well, we don't want it to be closed. We're going to update the window, and then when we do close it, then we want to destroy the window. So now we can play it, and it has our game engine thing we had there. It should be running it with OpenGL 3.2 at 60 frames a second. And we can click the X button to close it. So everything seems working fine, so we can move on and create a render class, and all we're going to be doing in this tutorial is just making something that has a orange background. So this is going to be really simple. We're almost done with it. We just want to have a create method in here, and this is just gonna set the clear color, and we're not gonna have like strobe lights in the background, so we only have to do this at the beginning because it saves the clear color, it doesn't reset it. So I'm just gonna use an orange color that I like to use for different things. That's 1 red, 0.3% green, and 0 blue. And then we also want a render method in here, and then this render is going to call different renders that do a bunch of different stuff. But before we do all that, we're gonna clear the color buffer, which just it keeps two. The way it actually works is it has 2 buffers by default. I'm not sure if you can change it in LWJGL and then library 2, you might be able to. And then each frame it swaps in between those buffers. And to draw on them, and when you call the display to update, it actually draws those. It actually puts those buffers on the screen. But we're gonna clear the color buffer, and that just makes the color buffer empty again. And then, well, actually it doesn't make it empty. It makes it whatever color you set as the clear color, and it just makes it completely empty if you didn't specify that, which is just completely black. It might be transparent, I'm not sure, but don't want transparency in this either. You're going to want that for post-processing effects if you're doing those, but we don't want that now. So the thing we're going to be clearing is called the GL color buffer bit. And then I'll just put a destroy method to be used in the next tutorial. But I'm not putting anything in here at all right now. So, just do that. Do the other thing. So, gel clear. And then we're gonna wanna initialize the render so that it sits. And then we talk about, and then let's go render. And we're gonna just destroy, even though it doesn't do anything at all right now. And before we update, we're gonna clear the color buffer a bit by just calling render that way. So now if you run it, we have a nice orange background that is ready to draw us other stuff in the future.